By trying to become the President of the Republic of Kenya, D.P. William Ruto is seeking to achieve what has never been achieved by a sitting Vice President in Kenya. Why? No Kenyan Vice President has ever ascended to the presidency through a normal election process. Raila's father, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, the founder of the Kenyan Nation and first Vice President of the Republic of Kenya, resigned from his post following imperialist instigated divisions between him and President Jomo Kenyatta. Throughout his life, his attempts to become president were constantly thwarted and he died without occupying State House. Vice President Daniel Arap Moi ascended to the presidency, not through a normal election but through political inheritance after Jomo Kenyatta passed away in his sleep in August 1978. D.P Mwai Kibaki, Daniel Arap Moi's predecessor, completed his term as vice president through resignation without becoming president. Kibaki became president as the leader of the Democratic Party in an election which saw Arap Moi and the Kenya African National Union lose power in December 2002. Dr. Joseph Karanja, who was appointed vice president after Kibaki, passed away without contesting a single election. Professor George Saitoti, who had hoped to succeed Arap Moi, resigned from his post as vice president to head the Party of National Unity after he was blocked from succeeding Moi following the coronation of Uhuru Kenyatta as KANU's presidential candidate in the December 2002 election. Saitoti was later killed in mysterious helicopter crash which conspiracy theorists have alluded, was a state-organized assassination after Saitoti refused to hand over PNU's chairmanship to Uhuru Kenyatta ahead of the 2013 election. Musalia Mudavadi, the shortest-serving vice president known in Kenyan history who was in office for just 3 months, had his presidential ambitions curtailed after KANU lost election in December 2002. Today, Musalia is still trying to become president. Kalonzo Musyoka, who betrayed Raila Odinga by accepting to deputize Kibaki following the rigging of the December 2007 elections, was dumped by the Kibaki group after he was used in 2007 to sustain Kibaki's presidency after it was stolen. Kalonzo never became president. In 2013, William Ruto became vice president following the rigging of the 2013 election and Ruto is now trying to become president in 2022. Why will Ruto also fail where all his predecessors have failed? Ruto is in a much difficult position because he is seeking to become president at a time when whoever becomes the president of the Republic of Kenya is decided by whoever is in control of the state machine. At the moment, this machine is under the control of the Mount Kenya Mafia cartel and Ruto is not part of this cartel, therefore, he is not in a position to influence it. Becoming president in Kenya today no longer depends on mobilizing the majority but on mobilizing the corrupt cartel members. Secondly, the Kikuyu ruling class is known to use and dump politicians. Ruto was used in 2013 to mobilize the Kale engine vote to justify a rigged election and the strategy worked. He was used again to rig election in 2017 and the strategy worked. The Kikuyu ruling class is done with Ruto and currently, they are dangling between working with Gideon Moi, the son of Daniel Arap Moi and Raila Odinga. For State House, Ruto is both out of the picture and out of the 2022 presidential configuration. In his association with the Kikuyu ruling class, the cartel has witnessed the ruthlessness of William Ruto in both political strategy and wealth-grabbing tactics. The fear of the Kikuyu is that if Ruto ascends to the presidency, he might be so ruthless in dealing with the Kikuyu ruling class such that apart from dismantling the Kikuyu economic superstructure, the Kikuyu will permanently suffer political emasculation for decades to come. This fear is what has prevented the Kikuyu from allowing Raila Odinga to take over power and it will be impossible for Ruto to surmount it. Another problem for Ruto is the entry of Raila Odinga into the Kikuyu ruling class political strategy ahead of the 2022 elections. Ruto will not be able to operate within Jubilee as long as Raila Odinga is in the House. The entry of Raila into government through the backdoor was schemed without consultation with Ruto, a sign that Ruto's political wings are in the process of being clipped by the cartel. Ruto has sensed danger and his latest political rhetoric has centered around attacking those seeking to change the constitution to create extra seats for themselves.
Na hata kama tutabadilisha katiba, hatuwezi kubadilisha katiba ati kutengeneza ati executive prime minister. Hawa watu unasikia wanazurura huko wanasema ati wanataka kubadilisha katiba tutengeneze ati prime minister mwenye atachukuliwa bunge na wabunge wachache kwa na fulani ati ndiye atakuwa anaendesha mambo ya Kenya, ati nyinyi wananchi mamilioni hamuna uwezo ya kuchagua nani ataongoza Kenya hii. Hizi tunamwambia my friends, nyinyi mnaishi kwa dunia ingine.
Under the circumstances, what will happen is that with time, Ruto will find himself more and more isolated, just like the late Professor George Saitoti was isolated before he was allegedly assassinated. Ruto therefore, will never be president of Kenya. The key reason why the Kikuyu ruling class is trying to bring Raila Odinga close is because they want Uhuru Kenyatta to rule peacefully, while they also want to use Raila to create political illusions ahead of 2022. The Kikuyu know that since they won't support Ruto, they will need a major ethnic group on their side if power is to remain within the Kikuyu inner circle. While trying to seduce Raila, the Kikuyu ruling class is also trying to seduce Gideon Moi to act as a buffer against Ruto in the Rift Valley and to divide the Rift Valley vote. These long-term strategies are clear indications that the Kikuyu ruling class is not planning for a Ruto presidency, and this is yet another reason why Ruto will never be president. Since the Kalenjin started joint political work with the Kikuyu, the Kalenjin have lost big time. The community has not only been marginalized in terms of development project, but top government positions have been filled by the Kikuyu from top to bottom. The Kalenjin voter is fundamentally disenchanted because there is nothing to show for Kikuyu support. This situation has created problems for Ruto because while the deputy president continues to grow his billions through stolen wealth, his people continue to see no benefits of having supported a Kikuyu government. Consequently, Ruto's influence in the Rift Valley will continue to decline as opposition from the Arap Mwai family continue to split the Kalenjin vote along clan lines. These developments will complicate Ruto's attempt to become president. Finally, if the Kikuyu have made a deal with Raila Odinga, it must be around the office of president. Unknown to millions of Kenyans, the Kikuyu ruling class is scheming for a situation where the tripartite conglomeration of the Kenyatta, the Odinga, and the Mwai families are seeking to cling on to power forever. The scheme, worked through a constitutional amendment, is to have members of these families occupy the positions of president and prime minister in principle, with a third member occupying the position of deputy president or deputy prime minister at any given time to keep the families in power. The Ruto family does not feature in this scheme, and for this reason, it will be impossible for William Ruto to become President of the Republic of Kenya in 2022. This is the reality in the situation. The best option for Ruto is to steal as much wealth as possible ahead of the 2022 elections, and once he fails to ascend to the presidency, retire to his Sugoi palace without a fight and hope that the state will not come to claim the stolen wealth by holding him to account. He can then swim peacefully in his man-made lake in his compound and ride in his 2 billion shilling chopper as he runs his business quietly in the post-2022 election. For now, he can campaign for cosmetic reasons to hoodwink his supporters and for political relevance as he continues to milk the cows in the DP's office. However, Ruto needs to forget about the presidency and prepare himself psychologically to accept and move on after the coming 2022 debacle. If you ask the Kenya Election Petition Channel experts, Ruto's goose is well cooked. Thanks for watching, like this video and see you in the next video.